Chrissy. I'm a customer success manager here at Healthie, and this is part 2, client engagement, where you'll learn all the different ways that clients become clients within your account, how to customize what they can and cannot track, as well as how to customize the emails that they receive and how to communicate with them on the platform. We'll also review how to navigate through a client chart so that you can find the information that you need to find for your clients. First thing, how do clients become clients in your account? If you're manually adding them yourself, so under clients, add a client, you can enter their first name, last name, mobile number, assign them to a group, and enter their email. Phone number, client group, and email are optional, but we highly recommend adding the email because this is how they'll receive that client invitation email with instructions on how to finish creating their client account. This is also the email address that they'll be receiving all communications from and using to log into the account. You don't have to have an email address, but in order for them to have access to the account, you would have to go back into their chart and enter an email address just so that they have access to their medical records. Alternatively, you can use this share invite link option so that instead of you putting in all of that information, the client would enter their own first name, last name, email, and create a password that's linked to your account. And you'll see them listed here. Alternatively, if your clients are booking appointments with you, so using this calendar quick share link where all clients can see the different services that you offer and pick whichever appointment they want to book, or if you're using share and embed to create unique links so that you can only share the appointments that you want to share with your prospects or your clients once they book through this link or the calendar quick share link. They'll receive a confirmation email confirming that they successfully booked the appointment, and they will be prompted to finish creating their client account. You'll be able to see them listed as a client here. If someone calls you to make an appointment, you have this option to add a client where you would enter their first name, last name, and email address and press add. Once you press add, your client will receive the invitation email along with a link to access their account. After you press add, you'll see their first and last name here and can move forward in booking that first appointment. The last way clients become clients on the accounts is if you're sharing your packages. So under billing, client packages. If you're sharing client packages with your clients and they purchase a package from you, once they purchase the package, they'll receive a package purchase confirmation email letting them know that they've successfully purchased the package. And within that email will be a link to access their account as well. Now, those are all of the different ways that clients become clients. They'll either receive an invite email, a confirmation email. How can you customize those emails? If you go into the gear icon next to your profile picture and click settings, scroll down to email templates. So these are all of the different emails that your clients receive as they navigate through their accounts. So here's that invitation email that you can customize, appointment confirmation emails. You can customize these appointment confirmation emails for the different appointments that you offer. Same thing for reminder emails. You can customize those reminders for each of the different services you offer. Embeddable appointments created. Package purchase confirmation emails. You can customize those for each of the different packages you offer. Program emails if you're on our Practice Plus plan using programs. And reactivation emails are a way to re-engage clients that haven't been active in their account within a certain number of days. You can specify that number of days here and maybe just write something like, hey, it's been a while since you logged into your account. Please log in and take a look at our new offerings and services and feel free to reach out to us with any questions. Again, it's just a way to re-engage clients that haven't logged in or been active in their account within a certain number of days. If you're looking to speak directly to your clients, you would do that through the chat feature. So here is where your clients can send you messages and you can send messages back to your clients. To start a new message, you would just click New. You can send messages to client groups. If you're in a multi-provider practice, you can send messages to other providers. You can also send messages to one individual client at a time if you'd like. If you select all, it would send the message to all clients and providers that are listed within the account. If you're sending to multiple providers or clients or a combination of both, you have an option to use a message blast or a community chat. A community chat is like being part of a group text where everyone can see the other people on the thread. If anyone responds to the message, other people will be able to see that message. A message blast is like being BCC'd on an email. So if you're sending a message to, let's say, 5 people, our system will create 5 individual threads. No one else will be able to see who else received that message, and no one will be able to see anyone's response. If you forget what the difference is, you can always click on this little exclamation point within the triangle and we'll let you know the difference. Now, once clients become clients, you can customize what they have access to in order to track. You can do that within the settings. If you scroll down to journal entries, and these are global settings. So these will apply to all of your clients. First is client portal settings. So just basic functions like viewing and paying bills, scheduling appointments, viewing and purchasing packages. Here with our eating disorder preset, if I select this, you notice that a few things get locked out. These are just our recommendations of what we think people with eating disorders should and should not be able to track. But by all means, if you are working with folks with eating disorders and you want them to track hungriness and emotion around meals, for example, you can leave this unchecked and continue to customize these settings. Clients don't know that they have this certain preset applied to them. One thing that I do want to point out under food is our macro and micronutrient tracking. So if you have this checked off and a client puts in that they had half a cup of oatmeal for breakfast, our system will pull in the number of carbs, fat, and protein, along with some micronutrients that are within that half cup of oatmeal. If you want your clients to track water, you can turn this on and set that target. Metrics that your client can track. We do separate it by what providers can enter and clients. So if, for example, I have both of these checked off, a client can enter their weight and I can enter a weight on behalf of my client. You can go through and check whichever you would like your clients to be able to track. If you want them to track something that you don't see here, you can create that as a custom metric by adding a metric down here. Keep in mind that metrics have to be something that can be tracked with a number. So if you're doing something like movement or sleep, in parentheses, you want to specify the number of hours or the number of minutes. In the journal tab, when we go through a client chart, you'll be able to see these metrics as individual entries. But in the metrics tab, you'll be able to see a visual representation of how those metrics have been trending over time. So for example, in the journal tab, I'll be able to see that on March 24th, my client entered that they weighed 180 pounds. But in the metrics tab, I can change the reference date so I can see how their weight has been trending in the last 6 months. If you would like your clients to track physical activity, you can enable that here. It'll ask them what kind of physical activity they did and the intensity. You can have them take a selfie. So if they can take a picture of their face, their arms, not just good for fitness, but also useful if you're a provider that's tracking skin issues, you can see how those skin issues have been improving over time. If you'd like your clients to track symptoms, we asked for simple symptoms like bloating, nausea, and there is a section for other in case they're feeling other symptoms that aren't listed. Under notes, they can post notes as journal entries. So we give them a free text field where they can write whatever it is that is on their mind. They can also track mood as part of their entry. They can track their BMs. Under integrations, this is where you would go to give them the option to connect any of these integrations. So for a client, what that would look like is if they want to track Fitbit, for example, all you have to do is just make sure Fitbit is checked off here. Once the client logs into their account under their own gear icon, they'll see a button here that says integrations, where they'll click on that button and they'll see these options as options to connect, and click on the blue connect button to whichever platform they're looking to connect to their Healthie account. If you would like your clients to participate in direct messaging or community chats, you can enable those two things here. And if you would like your clients to receive reminders to complete their goals, you can set that cadence here. Once you're happy with how these global settings look, you would just press save. Remember, these will apply to all of your clients. If you are using client groups, you can customize those settings. So if I click on my clients tab, client groups, let's say I want to customize the settings for group A. I would just click on the three dots, edit group settings, and I can edit the settings for this particular group. Any changes that I make here will override any global settings. I can also adjust these settings for a client. So if I click on a test client under actions, settings, these settings will override any group or global settings. What this little banner up here tells you is that this person has an active care plan that overrides these individual settings. Using care plans are our top tier way to adjust journal entry settings for your clients. So for example, let's say I wanted to activate a care plan. A care plan is like a protocol. So for example, let's say I have this Candida care plan. If I click on the three dots here and click edit, whether you're editing a pre-existing care plan or creating a new one, you're taken to a page that looks like this, where you would enter the care plan name, the description of the care plan. You have your recommendations here that we do separate by supplement, activity, nutrition, or other. One important thing that I want to mention is you can import your recommendations from your charting notes. So if, for example, I charted on this person today, and maybe I have a recommendation section in my notes, I can add recommendations from my charting note to the care plan. Here are goals, part of the care plan, documents. So documents would be any referencing material. If this is a Candida care plan, maybe I can have like a list of probiotics that would help with Candida, or a list of foods that they can incorporate into their diet to help, or even recipes. Any kind of referencing material you can add to documents. And then journal tracking, you see that these look identical to the individual global and group settings. But once I'm happy with my changes here and I press update care plan and I activate it, let's say I meet with this person next week or a few weeks later and I forget that they have an active care plan. If I go into the actions tab, settings, you see that all of these things are locked out, and that's exactly what that red message is telling you. You have an active care plan which overrides these settings. So If you want to edit the settings from here, you would have to set the care plan as inactive, or you can just edit the settings from the care plan if the care plan still applies. Just to run through a client's chart, under the overview, here is where you would be able to see the client's name, their email address. One thing that I want to point out, the notification history. So under notification history, you'll be able to see all of the different notifications that your client is receiving. You can also customize that reference range. If you see an envelope, that means that something was sent via email. If it did not go through, you'll see that it's been bounced, and we give you the reason why here. If you see SMS, that means that something was sent through text. The only notifications that are sent through text are appointment reminder text messages. Everything else, any other notification they get on their phone would be a push notification if they downloaded the app and enabled that they are opting in to receive those push notifications. Here I can see that the text message bounced, and I just might want to confirm that this is a real number with the client. A push notification would look something like an iPhone or a tablet. So this would be a push notification that was delivered, an email that was sent. If it says SMS, it's a text message. Here you'll be able to see what group they're a part of. You can see their last active date, so the last time that they logged into their accounts, and how long they've been a client for. One question that comes up frequently with providers is, how do I know that my client took the steps to finish creating their client account? If you have a new client and you're wondering if this last active date is blank, that means they did not finish creating their client account. Here you'll also see a quick notes section. So these are just quick reference notes that'll also show up while you're charting on the person. So if you need to know any allergies, medications that they're on, again, quick referencing information. Here you can see any upcoming appointments, past appointments that didn't occur. You can see what packages they're a part of or that they've purchased. Under financials, you can see any last payments that they've made, any money that they owe. If you hover over that dollar amount, we'll let you know how they got to that dollar amount. Any credit card information that you have stored. If you want to add a credit card information on behalf of your client, you can add that here. Credit balances, one thing I want to point out, if you're wondering how a client got to a certain number of credits, you can just click on the number and we'll let you know how they got to that number. Any medications that they self-reported, any recent labs. This is part of our integration with Change Healthcare and Rupa. Insurance eligibility, if you're tracking their insurance information. Any programs that they're a part of. If you want to encourage your clients to move forward in their programs, for example, I have an Eat More Greens program and they haven't made any progress here, I would just click on the three dots and nudge the client. We went over care plans. Under journal is where you would see those metrics that the client has entered. We'll also let you know who entered the metric. So if you see your name here, you enter the metric. As a provider, you can respond with a comment or an emoji to these entries. Here's a food entry example, water, BM. Under metrics is where you can see how that information has been trending over time. So again, under journal, I can see individual entries. Here I can also see when these entries have been made, but it gives you a more visual representation of what their weight, body fat percentage has looked like over time. Any goals that you've created with the client or that your client has created, you'll be able to see here. Any recommendations from Fullscript, you'll be able to see those recommendations here. You'll see if the client has ordered any of those recommendations, and you can add new product recommendations from here. Under charting is where you'll be able to view your charting notes, create charting notes, view your client forms. So once they fill out those forms, you would come in here to see those responses. You can see when it was requested, when they completed it. If they started but didn't finish, you'll see it marked as incomplete. If they haven't started it at all, it'll say not started. If you really need them to fill out this form, you can send them a reminder from here. Here you can view their documents if they're uploading documents for you to view. You can download a client EHI and download a client summary. Under billing is where you would be able to see all of the payments that you've received from this particular client. You can charge them. You can document an outside payment from here. You can view invoices, super bills, and CMS 1500s. Under the Actions tab is where you can edit their settings. You can view personal information. One thing I want to point out is if your client is having trouble logging into their account, there is a forgot password button that they can click on. But if they still are having trouble, you can let them know this is the email address that is on file for them. You can send them the instructions to reset the password, or you can change their password to something really generic and let them know this is the password on file. I changed your password to something really generic. So use that to log in and change your password once you do log in. Here you can see what group they're a part of, who the provider assigned to them is, and other care team members, their address that they have on file, their insurance information, advanced settings for appointment pricing if you want to apply a specific price for this client for each of the appointment types, family and contacts if you wanted to link a client account. It doesn't give clients access to other clients' accounts. It's just a way for providers to see relationships between their clients. You can add a contact if you had to add an emergency contact, referring physician, any diagnoses, food allergies, sensitivities, intolerances, preferences, family history, and implantable devices. So that's it for this class. If you are looking for more in-depth tutorials, please feel free to join in on any of our free live classes and take a look at our Healthie University for more pre-recorded tutorials.